talked about this before. I've talked on this subject before, but it's getting continually worse. And it's important to understand. Are we becoming a nation where all young people will rent? Yeah. Like not everyone, but the vast majority. Let me give you some stats, some chilling, horrible stats that my friend John Flynn, the real estate broker, gave us, posted recently. So let's look at a 10-year period. And this is the activity. This is what real estate agents did in Ontario over the last 10 years. This is the breakdown. There's two things real estate agents do. They help you buy a house. They're in the house buying. That's the business they want to be in the house transaction business, selling and buying. The other thing that real estate agents do is lease properties. They arrange for rentals on condos, sometimes houses, semis, towns. They act for the landlord or they act for the renter. And so lease or buy, that's essentially a real estate agent's existence. So last 10 years, let's look at the trend. The trend was 2015, 31% of all of the transactions, so that's a distinct minority of the transactions, 31% of the transactions real estate agents did was a lease, was leasing a house, leasing a condo, leasing whatever. And obviously 69%, or the vast majority of their, supermajority of their work, was helping people buy and sell homes. So now let's look at 10 years later, 2025. 65% of all a real estate agent's activities now is leasing, is renting, arranging rentals, leasing units. 65%. Only 35% is selling homes. Now, you might correctly say, well, wait a second, Ron. I mean, like, the whole real estate market's gone to shit. Nobody's selling anything, and they're not building anymore. They quit building new houses and new condos like 2 years ago. Like, sure, there's going to be less sales. Really? Like, yeah, that's true, but this was a 10-year trend, a decade-long trend, okay? Just didn't happen last year. So why is it important? It's important because in all likelihood, what's going on right now isn't just a blip. It's not a gully, okay? It's a sign of a fundamental change. The fundamental change is once reality sets in the housing market and all the speculators are out, all the flippers are out, all of the buy this house, put in an IKEA kitchen, paint it, put some lipstick on the pig and make 300 grand. Once that's all gone, once you lose money on rentals, not make money on rentals, like you end up with a rental that you lose money on, that chases all the investors out, real estate investors, and you're left with just average people buying homes. And average people buying homes, even though the price of homes has come down, particularly in Ontario and in BC, it's starting to come down in Alberta. Even though it's come down, it's still unaffordable. It's still very much unaffordable. And like I said, they quit building them. There's no more new homes to purchase being built in BC or Ontario. And it's all rentals. Now, it's either rentals or social housing. So remember what I've said before, the famous Build Canada Homes program that was the big feature of the Carney government, the Carney Liberal government, that's in the process of just being whittled down to nothing. And it's only for rentals. That's it, folks. Just rentals. Nothing about Build Canada Homes as you buying the famous Carneyville modular yurt, okay, which is what it's for. That's what the program's for, billions and billions. But the billions keep getting cut back a little bit. Like it's looking like there'll be less and less. Or it's social housing. It's housing that's grants are it's like for people who can't afford normal rent. There's subsidized rental. It's social housing, or it's just an ordinary rental, but a lot of socialized housing. Nothing wrong with that. We need social housing, but the whole program of the Liberal government is not about any push to people to buy houses, make it easier to buy houses. Build Canada Homes has got nothing to do with buying houses, and that's just out in the open now. But here's the problem. It's still too high. I bought a house in 1996 for huge house for $248,000, and you can't do that anymore. Not possible. Now, let's accept that there's been some wage inflation since then, but still, in Vancouver, when you look at average family income, the price of a home is still 11.5 to 12 times average family income. It should be 3 times, and the same, maybe 4 tops, and the same is similar in Ontario, 8.5 to 9 times family income. Should be 3.5, 4, not even close. So it's unmanageable. It's creating a new generation of all renters, because that's what happens when people move out of their family home, move out of their parents' homes. They become rentals. It used to be some people that the parents helped them and they just plain bought. I ran into that. A lot of times people who got married, parents chipped in a little bit of money 30 years ago, and they bought a house right out as soon as they got married and left home. That does not exist anymore. Not even close, not even slightly. It's not there. People rent, and young people rent sometimes for long periods of time. Even family formation, which is bad these days. Hard. It's not many people forming families, but it's still for people rent first. Okay, and most importantly is the kind of people who buy today. Like, I'm 30 years doing this. When I started in the business, tons of ordinary people bought homes. Tons of them. The people who worked in retail, the assistant grocery manager at Loblaws and his spouse who was working as a EA, but they bought a home. Sure they did. Put 5% down, bought a home. The guy who worked in the warehouse, his wife was a nurse. They bought a home. A guy who worked in a factory and his wife was a part-time teacher, bought a home. They bought homes. We don't see any of that anymore. Zero. It's people who own businesses. It's people who are white-collar professionals. It's people in senior type jobs in banking, life insurance, all kinds of things, but always the managers. The managers are paid enough to buy houses now. Nobody else. That's what we see in our mortgage applications in Ontario. So is that the right way to go? No, it's shit. But that's what we're faced with, and that's why rentals just keep getting bigger and bigger.